Okay, let's move on to do some human touch. For example, the scratches I have there. That's going to be on the scratch layer of this particular smart material. Right, let's go there and take a look. Actually the edge, I believe. Yeah, the edge. So I have some smart mask. I'm going to right click on it and add a paint layer stack on the edge so that I can go ahead and paint. As you see now when I start painting, I'm actually creating a scratch. Okay. So I can manually add some of those things. Now if yours is like filling in, basically that's because your brush is black. So press X to reverse the color, or you can define your own color here down the property settings. And that's the color you're painting on the mask. Again, white means showing up, so you can use white to apply some manually painted scratches. The brush control is control right mouse button to go bigger and smaller, control and right mouse button left and right to go bigger and smaller, up and down to go sharper and softer, control left mouse button left and right to change the flow, or basically the pressure, I guess, or how much it does when you draw a stroke, and then up and down is rotating the brush. Okay, so that's all the operations. Control left and right, up and down, different combinations can give you 4 different controls of this brush. So I'm gonna make the brush fairly small and start cutting out some of the edges to give them some more variation on the edging or cracks, basically. So I'm going to add some high density ones just to give it some more interesting look on this particular part. Because there is no accident when you do use procedural ways, computer generated image, right? So that you wanted to give it some variations that is human made, so that way it feels more convincing. Otherwise it's going to be too perfect. Okay. So human man tends to make similar shapes, especially when you're trained to do something that is logical. And we're trained to do that all the time. So that's why we end up with it. Right, so you want to break it up, we press X and then erase this line so that the density doesn't, so those are denser and this one is not as dense. So try to avoid that, but your mind is set up to do that thing, so you kind of wanted to be able to tell yourself to fix that afterwards and or down the way to avoid doing that. Okay. So now I have gaps, dense areas. Okay. Now you can spend as much time as you wanted to do the detailing here on this stage. Use painting way instead of rely on the smart masks and smart materials. Okay. Now one more thing I want to talk about is if you wanted to like get some third-party material, they have a library here. Go click on the substance source. It's going to open substance source, and you can see this one has a lot of things. You can log in there. The account is free, and you can download any of those things. You can see a lot of different presets. Okay. This is not a texturing class. This is just to walk you through the process. Again, so the texturing wise, we have other texturing tutorials that has more in-depth explanation on some of the other tools, but this is basically how you use Substance Spinner. It's not supposed to be a complicated software at all. It's easy, and I like that. So anyway, let's say we're happy with this now, right? And we're gonna move on to actually bring this to renderers. Now in this particular example, I'm gonna do Arnold, and maybe I can go for a very also, I'm not sure if I have enough time to do both, but They should be similar, but Viri is actually a little bit more harder because of the system Viri is using. You'll see why maybe in the future, but for now, I'm gonna go for Arnold first. So, go for File, Export Textures. Okay. I'm gonna go select the directory to tell them it's gonna be in my download drive for now. Select this folder and format. I can choose Tiger. And then configuration, I'm gonna change that for the renderer I'm using, which is Arnold right here, AI standard. Okay. Arnold 5 AI standard. Now this UDIM is actually a tileable or tiled texture collection. If you have like multiple UVs that is beyond U1 V1 space, you can have that, but we're not having that. We're not going that complicated. So again, Arnold 5 AS standard should be good enough for our preset. And you can see there are other presets like Lumberyard. It's a game engine. It's actually getting pretty good. Their baking takes very little time to do. You have Arnold 4 and 5. Right? You have Corna. I think this is the one used in Cinema 40. Cryengine. Cryengine is also developing its own. It's like a separate engine or a branch of this Lumberyard. Or Lumberyard is actually a branch of Cryengine. Now you have Dota 2, which is basically Source Engine 2. Keyshot. I don't know what that is or that. Those are the basic PBR settings. Redshift is a graphic-based renderer. Another one would be called Rectan, and those two are all GPU-based. They're really fast. I don't know what that is. And you have Unity, Unreal Engine, Viri. Okay. Again, I'm gonna go choose Arnold 5 AI standard. Okay. Now here the resolution I can go for 2K, but I can also go for 4K. It's gonna update document. Anyway, so let's go for 4K. Just to push the limit a little bit more. And then that should be everything we need to do. Just go ahead on export. That's gonna go export all my textures. Okay, so that's gonna be it for this tutorial. In the next one, we're gonna move back to Maya and really set up the material. All right, see you next time.